It does fashion here, and today I want to show you some possible fashions that you could use for Gauss and Grendel. Let's get right into this video. People, with the drop of the Shadowgrapher update, we were given two skins for Gauss and Grendel that just look amazing. If you like mechs, this is what you're going to really love. For this fashion, this is my first cosplay. This is my fashion of White Glint from the game Armored Core. Now, I'm not really sure which ones it's from, but I know that they were in one. The fashion will first include the Moto helmet and the Moto skin. For the primary, I would recommend using bright white because it's White Glint. Why wouldn't you? Same for this. Same for the secondary. On the tertiary and the accents, you want to make them pitch black, so that you can really see the body bits showing and the white armor just reflecting in the moonlight and the sunlight, depending on where you're battling. Now, I will leave the energies up to you because I made them white, because when I crash into a wall with Mac Rush, or Mac Crash I should say, I want it to really shine the area up. As for the attachments, this is up to you. I've used the Fendar X chest plate because it just looks amazing. The Arca Solstice shoulder guards, which I think close up during a certain animation. The Zyrax leg armor, because I wasn't really sure what else to use. The Sibylina ephemera, which is from the Tenet sisters. Now, for that, you might want to change the energy color because it also affects the Visor Signa that came with it. As for the Syandana, I also went with the Tailfin Syandana just so that I can see those beautiful engines, because in Armored Core, when you get shot off into battle, you'll be seen with a bunch of engines on your back, and it just looks fun. Anyway, that's the first one. Hope you like it. For my first Grendel cosplay, this one, I pretty much just made it because it was funny, and there's an augment where you can spin dash yourself into a wall. If you can't really guess who it is supposed to be Sonic the Hedgehog, but I went with the Sonic version because he's quite large and really fat in a sense. Sorry, not fat shaming, just saying that's what he looks like. For the colours, you want to go primarily this blue here, followed by the secondary that I've used here in the classic saturated. For the secondary, I would recommend this one. For the tertiary, I would use white because well, actually, now I think about it, maybe because like you can't get gloves and you can't get socks, so it kind of questions why I added the white. For the red, you want to be using this one here. It will just give him a bit more, his feet will look. Now you can try it with the new skin that we got, the Grendel Turbis, but quite frankly, it makes him look like Metal Sonic, and he looks a bit more mechy. Yeah, now I think about it, he actually looks pretty samurai-ish. I really got to get a fashion of this made. Anyway, moving on to the attachments, I have used the Kuva Zivok chest plate, simply because I didn't really know what else to use for that pale of orange that Sonic has on his chest, which is the skin. For the legs, I have on the arms, I haven't really used anything. On the legs, I've used halter because I just plain like them. For the ephemera, I've used the Vengeful Trickster, and for the Eratos and the Signa, I've used Erato. Though I suppose if you're going for more Metal Sonic-y look with this, you could probably use the Visor skin, or maybe you'd use the Flamecore skin. I don't know, it's up to you really. Moving on to the Syandana. The Syandana I've used is the Synchro Syandana to give the back spines that you would usually see on Sonic that effect. You can get this Syandana by linking your account to an email address or Warframe account, I think it's email address. Anyway, that is my Sonic the Hedgehog. I hope you liked it. Next up is known as Hyper Metal Sonic, created by Dr. Robotnik in attempts to defeat Sonic the Hedgehog, and would have succeeded if his friends hadn't intervened. Anyway, moving on to the colours you want to be using now. Throughout the entirety of this fashion, the colours will not change much. So I would recommend classic saturated. I would recommend putting a star there because you will be using that colour a lot. The secondary, you can either get PSIV or smoke, use black. On the tertiary, you can either use PSIV or smoke or saturated classic to get this grey. For the accents, you just want red. You could either use classic saturated or you can use Halloween. For the energy emissives, I would use red because you want his eyes to be red like he is in the series. Energy color, pale blue, give a bit of a pale grey mixed with a blue, and it should give you the color that you so desire for this energy color here, used as electricity. For the attachments, Etheria chest plate. Now, make the middle bright yellow so that it looks like his jet engine. For the shoulders, I would use Saturn 6 attachment, but I'm sure there's another option you can use as long as it's roundish. I mean, Fracta can work, I suppose. I don't really use it. For the legs, use halter leg guards, which again, I will tell, it will comes from the Loki Knave Deluxe bundle. You will need to get the full thing to get that armor set. For the ephemera, use the Vengeful Charge, which is obtained from a Kuva Lich, and you need to use the Electric Progenitor. For the Signa, the Erato works just fine because it makes it look like some more spikes. Next up, for the Syandana, you want to use the Surator Syandana. Now, this is a Tanagen, so you probably will need to buy this separate. For the primary, I would recommend using the... Well, actually, no. Use all the colours that you used from the original Sonic. You will know which ones to use. For the energies, make it bright red. And for the... Well, make the emissives bright red. And for the energy, use yellow. There we go. My Hyper Metal Sonic, perfectly used. To fit in with the cosplay of the Metal Sonic, and of course the Grendel Sonic at the front, my Grendel fashion of Dr. Ivo Robotnik, the arch nemesis and rival of Sonic the Hedgehog. Sorry, couldn't keep a straight face. He's always losing. Anyway, as you can see, to really give the helmet that bold skin look that Dr. Eggman is so known for, you will have to sacrifice having brown lips around the mouth, so you just have to deal with that. I suppose you could use Glut. You could probably use No, you couldn't. Take it back. Yep, normal Grendel helmet will do here. Use the neon skin, which gives him this nice little armor face. Next up, for the animation, you don't really need to change it. For the primary, to get that bold look, I would recommend using the Ember Heirloom if you've got it. Use this pale orange skin color. For the next bit, I would use this red from the Halloween. Tertiary, again, that red from Halloween. For accents, I would make it grey that way, like a really, really dark grey. That way you can actually see the details rather than just being that, because it looks horrible. Look at it. You want it to shine a bit. For the emissives, I would recommend just making it black because you're not really changing anything. For the energy, you want everything to be like burning, I suppose. It would be orange and red once you have used a former. For the attachments, I would recommend the Paxis chest plate because you can cover up quite a bit and then add some gold detailing to really reflect his outfit in general. For the shoulders, I used the Iridos because they just plain look pretty cool on this skin. The halter leg armor, again like the Metal Sonic, comes from Loki Knave bundle. As for the ephemera, you've got the Sibylina ephemera. Now this is obtained through a sister of Parvos. You will need to grind until you get her, or you can just buy from a player in trade chat. For the Syandana, I've used the Culpa Syandana, which comes from the Curlevo Apostate skin bundle. It's one that's usually used to create a Predator Yautja fashion, as you can see by mine. For the colours, I would just recommend red, and then grey from the smoke palette, followed by black to make it that, to get that colour up there. And then the energy, you can pretty much just copy it from the main. And then that is my Dr. Eggman fashion for Grendel. For the third and final Gauss fashion that I'm going to show you, I present to you my Gauss pool, which is of course a reference to Deadpool, and since there is a whole multiverse of them, why not add one more? As you can see, I've used the Grax helmet and the Grax skin because in my opinion there are no superiors at this point. I mean, if you want to go for maybe Gauss armor, like Deadpool in armor, maybe you'd use the Nitralist. If you're wanting to go for a bit of a more of a mech, you'd probably use the Moto skin, but I used Grax. As for the colors, the primary color, because his main color is red, you will need a bright red, followed by the secondary, tertiary and accents being a black, because they only really follow the extra bits. For the emissive, add white, because you want his eyes to have the white dots, because when you look at his mask, it's white, and it just plain looks right on the chest plate as well. For the energy, I would recommend using black with red. I mean, if you want to blast into everything and be a troll and use bright and whatnot, just use bright white energy, because you'll be doing Deadpool a favour, I suppose. Moving on to the attachments. Now, the Doppling Prime chestplate can only be obtained through Prime access for Gauss, so if you want it, you will have to do that via Prime Hire or the actual bundle itself. For the armour on the shoulders, I've just used Arachna because I thought it would look cool. The halter leg guards on the legs, paint them black, like the song by Rolling Stones. On the ephemera, I wasn't really sure what to use at this point, so I'd use the wire matrix, just for why not. And the Signa, not really needed. So the primary colour, I would use bright red like you have for the suit. Next up, use black, followed by black again on the tertiary, and as for the accents, use bright red or dark red, it's up to you. For the Syandana, I would recommend the Sildog, because it's two swords, and Deadpool's always carrying two katana anyway, so there you go. You can alter it if you want, but I've just left it black and with white emissives. There you go, you've got yourself Deadpool, and that is my last Gauss for this video. My last and final Grendel fashion. As you can see, I haven't really used his mecha skin yet, but I will really need to do that. This is my Monster Hunter fashion of the Devil Joe, as it felt like the only warframe in this game capable of living up to the world-eating giant. Anyway, for this fashion, you will want the Grendel Moloch skin and helmet. For the colours, you will need the Grania colour palette, because he's dark green and the Devil Joe is. For the secondary, to give him the red in places, because you will need that dark red, I recommend Halloween or darker. For the tertiary, just use like a really dark green, like camouflagey colour to it. For the accents, because Devil Joe does in fact have chin spikes all over his body, mixed with a layer of spikes down his tail, because, well, that's why everybody calls him the pickle. For the energy colour, now you will need to form a Grendel at least once to make this possible. Make the emissive bright red, because he is just angry all the time, and to get that dragon element effect, I would recommend getting the first colour to be black, followed by red. For the attachments, I've used the Kuvatolon. Now, you don't have to use anything if you don't want to. I just wanted to because it make him look a bit more bulky. For the Lamassu chest plate, I wasn't really sure what to use. You can use just about anything at this point. If there was anything with more spikes on it, I'd recommend that. For the attachments on the feet, I've used the Saturn 6 knee plates. Now, you can use just about anything for this. I wasn't sure what to use. For the ephemera, use Fog of War, because it really looks like dragon element is pouring from this creature's body, as if it's full of hate. As for the Syandana, I've used the Scylla. Now, looking on it, I don't know why, when I feel like I just need a tail. I don't even think there's a tail on this that's really thick enough to really fashion me. Look at that. Does that look right to you? Maybe you want to use Magor or the other Towson. I mean, looking on it now, it does actually look pretty Grendel-y, but up to you. I don't really mind what I used, as long as it looked taily or looked right. Anyway, that is my Grendel fashion of the Devil Joe. I hope you enjoyed it. That's the end of this video. I hope you liked the fashions I had to offer for Gauss and Grendel. Happy Shadowgrapher, everybody. make some cool Foley fashions. I hope to see some options for mine, other than Pennywise and maybe Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Now, remember, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, see you in the next one. Peace.